Have you picked the wedding date?
We don't want a ceremony.
No ceremony?
It's important that we create a safe space and be very honest about our secret wedding behaviors.
Okay. Sure. Great.
Because I was like, oh my God, what am I really like at a wedding? Like, how likely are you to cry?
Oh, very, very likely.
Same.
Yes, vows. Vows make me cry. Yeah.
Every time. Drinking.
Too much.
Always. We might be the same person is kind of what I'm getting from this.
Yes.
But also I'm like, I usually lead the dance party.
Okay,
and
cool.
I'm like everybody's kind of crazy aunt that
Perfect.
goes out and is like feeling it.
Amazing.
Right?
Yes. You need that. You need the social director of the wedding, you know. I will say that is not me. I do really love sitting. But I do love like chair dancing, you know.
Yes.
That's
Still supportive.
Yes.
It's like you're here for everyone, but you're not overdoing it.
Yes.
And also maybe sleepy because we've had a little bit much.
So much to drink.
And
Yeah.
eat and like all of it.
Yes.
Okay. And so it was wonderful to see like a celebration that was of a different culture that was like not what I was used to attending.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually so funny. Korean weddings are generally pretty quick and
Love that.
and you know they're daytime affairs and it's a lot about the tradition. You know, obviously in Korea now like people will have, you know, more kind of Western style weddings where like it's more of a party and, you know, but for this one it felt like you know, good to kind of nod to the traditions because of Min's grandmother. But you know, I remember my brother getting married and he had these you know, rituals that he took you know, a part of, and it was really exciting for me to be able to show those rituals, you know, for you know, a movie-going audience.
Right, absolutely. Because I mean, that's pretty much the best example of what movies can do. It shows it honors all of our differences while showing us that we really are the same. Like we just want to love and be loved, and we want our families to be safe and to like eat and drink.
Yeah.
We're
Yes.
good.
Exactly.
Yeah. Am I correct in thinking that the Ang Lee version of this was also at Sundance? Was that a thing, or was that a major release for him? Because I mean, it's Ang Lee.
Yeah, I believe Ang Lee's The Wedding Banquet premiered at the Berlin Film Festival.
Okay, so maybe another adjacent film festival.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you talk about maybe what parts of Ang Lee's amazing work aesthetically or kind of emotionally you took with you in recreating this? Because it's such a good example of recreating a story to make it have the same heart but with like a much more modern feel.
Yeah. You know, the adaptation process was very organic. You know, we didn't want to force anything. I was very fortunate to work alongside my co-writer James Seamus, who had co-written the original
First
film,
one, yeah.
which was very cool. You know, I wanted to retain the spirit of the filmmaking, the philosophy, the humanity of the characters. That was always going to be a part of this film. And then, you know, we wanted to retain the mix of, you know, comedy and drama. We wanted to retain this balancing act between culture and sexual identity and family. You know, the themes of this movie really, you know, they're evergreen. And to talk about how they intersect, I think is, you know, unfortunately, like not explored as much in cinema. And so I wanted to continue doing that here. Obviously, so much has changed for the queer community since 1993, especially around this topic of family. You know, one of those things being like gay people can get married now. And then also, you know, in how we can build family, you know, whether it's through adoption or IVF. You know, I was really interested, you know, the original film has these characters accidentally having a baby, and I wanted to show a couple planning to have a baby and what that drama looks like. And so, you know, it felt really natural. It didn't feel like we were forcing anything. I borrowed a lot from my conversations with my boyfriend about getting married and about having kids. And I think it leads to, a film that really speaks to the modern day, but really retains the spirit of the original film.
And I think that when I think of Ang Lee, I think of a warmth, but also sort of a real push technologically. It seems like everything he's kind of done. But what I get from your version is like a sort of like not a push in technology, but like just kind of this inner glow. It made me warm fuzzies. That was pretty much.
No, I'm so glad. I mean, I'll say like for me, like my editor, Jérôme Bresson, who's incredible, he was saying that he felt the film was starting to work when watching the film kind of felt like hanging out with me. And I was like, okay, good, great. I will say that that's kind of a dangerous path to go down, because now when people criticize the movie, I take it really personally.
Like, oh, it's me.
No, exactly. But it's okay. I know that the film is its own thing. But yeah, I think it's important to tell an uplifting story, especially in really difficult times. I think it's of course a balance. Sometimes you need to show the difficulty and the horror and the drama and the tragedy. And then sometimes you need to have wish fulfillment and show what we could have, right? And show the celebration and the joy of that, to inspire people to, just keep going. And so, I hope that my film can be a part of that balance and equation that really helps move culture forward.
I am thinking of the end, and I was like, yeah, inspiring is definitely one of the words that comes up, because it just, again, I was grinning from ear to ear when I watched it. What is one of your favorite remakes?
Oh, gosh.
Right?
That's a really good question. I mean, I'll say I love the Joe Wright Pride and Prejudice.
Nice. Oh, yes.
Keira Knightley.
Incredible.
I think, just such a lovely, sweet, fun, very full of yearning adaptation of Pride and Prejudice. And it was definitely a big inspiration for the Pride and Prejudice adaptation that I got to work on, Fire Island.
When I think about your filmography, I also think like this is exactly why making sure different people have the opportunity to make films is important, because you get to see so many great things, maybe people you don't know, et cetera. Yeah. Do you feel as though there's any particular movies that might have paved the way for you to be able to make films like Fire Island and this one? And
yeah, I think about a long legacy of Asian American film, especially in indie film. I think about our like forefathers, like Wayne Wong and Bob Nakamura. I think about films like Mina Shum's Double Happiness with Sandra Oh.
Oh, nice.
Like people were making this work, and sometimes it would get a bigger platform, and then other times it didn't. And for me, it's still a difficult process. I feel very fortunate in where I am in my career to be able to make something that can have this platform. And I just want to bring more people along with me, and hopefully we can create a very long legacy of queer and Asian American film.
Yeah, because I think that, once again, just the unification that kind of stuff provides. Because I feel like I always grew up watching movies like this. Yeah. Because it's like, whether it's Ang Lee's Wedding Banquet or even, any other soul food, like any film that deals with family and love, it's like, that's what this world actually is comprised of. Mm-hmm.